Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode 345 at scavengerlife.com.
This week on eBay, chaos.
It was
total chaos.
Shipping chaos.
Postal crazy it is. Okay, so this past Monday, eBay instituted the new postal service fees.
Right, so the new prices. So the USPS, they raise their prices, I think, every year.
They do it every 6 months, but they do it
something like that. So it seemed like what was happening was there's this thing that happened a year ago maybe, where USPS said packages between 13 and 16 ounces can be shipped first class. Mm-hmm. Because before it was only up to 13 ounces.
Right. And
from then on you had to do priority or parcel. So it was amazing because there's lots of things that are 14, 15, right. 15.999.
It was one of those things where they raised the prices, but to kind of ease the pain on that, they said, but then we'll allow you to go a little higher on
which was
class.
Awesome.
16 ounces. Everyone was excited.
It's so great, right? So for some reason there was a miscommunication when they updated the shipping stuff on eBay, and you couldn't buy an item that was labeled as first class between 13 and 16 ounces, which is crazy. Although you could print those labels. I was able to say, oh, this is 15 ounces, I can print the labels.
It was basically an eBay boo-boo.
It was a bug in their system. But the problem was they weren't acknowledging that it was a bug. There were reps, even anchor support reps, saying, we no longer allow 13 to 16 ounces for first class. And everyone's like, but USPS says you can on commercial rates.
I'm always I'm a big advocate for eBay just because we've made a living on it and it's the best thing for the kind of stuff that we sell. But this is really an example. Like, it's a bald face example of why people say eBay is slow and disorganized. I mean, it really was a good example. Like, you would think, we've done some tech stuff on some websites, and you're supposed to have like a development system, so you do the changes there just to see how they show up. It just felt like someone came in on Monday morning about 6. He knew it had to be ready by 9, and he kind of changed some things and was surprised that
it's not working. So that was number one for the first class.
Okay,
chaos.
And so I'm going to tee this stuff up because I don't really understand any of this stuff. I don't ship, so
I'll try to understand it.
The next thing that people were complaining was on first class it's national items.
Right.
It said that they would only allow now paper in it and not like actual items.
Like in quotes, flats.
Right.
Like an actual envelope of documents, not packages. And so what was weird about this is there seemed to be some documentation going around being like,
I found that. So
you found that on the post office.
On their website, it says first class it's national can only be papers and documents,
right? And
people are trying to shove
no. So
coffee mugs.
So that was not that. Look, there's two different categories of first class for international. There's letters, like you're saying, and then there's packages. Letters can only be up to, I think it's like 13 ounces, like whatever, small stuff. Packages is a whole other category, and on that same page that you found, there's a whole thing for packages. You can send up to it's up to 4 pounds.
So I guess it was one of those things where when they did the changeover, it
was the same kind of bug.
They messed up and
when eBay did the changeover, it was like they weren't allowing for packages. Like that got deleted, the ability to buy something.
Right.
Now, I will say this for both of these bugs, if you had a second type of shipping available, like priority, you could see that.
People could buy through that, right?
But it costs more for the buyer, and you're like, I have other cheaper methods, and that wasn't showing up. And So that was fixed too. That was actually just another bug, and it was just hard to find the documentation on USPS that was still allowed. But it was there because I did find it.
So those first two things did eventually get fixed, right?
Yeah,
like
within a couple days.
Right, and actually it was good. eBay actually announced it too. They actually had a page where they were like, "We understand it's a problem.
Right.
We're trying to fix it," and then they would say it's fixed, which is nice, a good thing.
And they had updates on eBay for Business on Facebook. So there were two different things. A couple places where you could see that. So that was good.
Okay, and then the third issue is FedEx SmartPost.
Yeah.
And this is, and I'll let you talk more about this, but people were coming on the it's forum that said, person bought this, they paid $10 FedEx SmartPost. Then when I go to print a label, it's $16. And there's no way to figure out why and all that. And then people were saying, oh, go for it.
Oh, I actually don't even understand what this issue was. My thoughts are it has to do with dimensional weight. Like the dimensions were oversized in quotes. And that changed the price. But if you had those dimensions in there to begin with, the buyer should have been able to pay that price. So I don't really know what the issue was.
Right. So we haven't gotten dinged on that. I mean, we've been doing FedEx SmartPost all week, and it's been fun.
For some reason on our account, I didn't see any discrepancies. Like someone would pay $12, and the price with my discount was like $10.50, and you're like, okay, that sounds right. I don't know.
Right.
But.
And again, this is when eBay could do themselves a favor by, just like they had that post where they said we had this problem with first class, and they were explaining it, acknowledging it.
Right.
I have not seen a page where they explain that there's a FedEx problem. So then all these rumors get started. One rumor is it's FedEx and eBay are having an argument about prices, and we're getting hurt by this. So.
But we don't know what the deal is.
Yeah. So I don't know anything more about that other than what people are posting on the its forum and what they're being told. Just like right now, there doesn't seem, if people are being caught up in this, there's nothing eBay's willing to do that you as a person that is sending the item out has to eat that cost.
Yeah, I really don't know what the issue. I don't know what the resolution is other than keeping track of those and hopefully calling eBay or asking for money
like
back.
Some people are saying, just take its FedEx SmartPost off as a
your
choice.
Listings, yeah.
Can that be done all at one time? Like
you can bulk edit and but the problem is like say you have like priority as the first top thing and SmartPost is the second, you have to go in and edit all of that. Like you have to be like, okay, all priority in the first thing, all smart USPS parcel instead.
Right.
But so it sucks if you have like half your inventory's first class, half your inventory's priority. It's just like it's a mess.
Yeah,
unless you have shipping business policies, then you're kind of golden.
So I do want to talk about that real quick. But if someone is new hearing this, they're like, I'm just starting to sell on eBay. I hear it's great. I mean, this is the kind of thing where it's just kind of a headache. And you know what? I hear people on Amazon, they have these kind of issues too in other ways, and when policies get changed, and it's just the way it is.
Messy.
And you just have to keep going, right?
I mean, and this stuff happens every 6 to 12 months. There's always something that happens where...
Is that true?
No, I'm not saying, like, this chaotic, but I'm saying, like, when they implement new rules,
right.
It's a little bit uncomfortable, you know, where you're like,
sure.
What's the new rule for shipping on time? And
right.
da-da-da,
yeah, I mean, sure. Yeah, there's always all these sites are always trying to evolve. So.
Right. And compete with each other.
Except for Craigslist. Craigslist the one site where it's the same now as it was 15 years ago,
Oh man, I was putting some stuff on Craigslist this morning and I was doing it on my phone and I was like, this is literally exactly the same as it was like 15 years ago.
Although I just feel there's so much, it's more spam. Like
almost every email we get on Craigslist at first is spam.
Right.
I almost don't believe it's a real person.
Where people are like, I want it, I'll buy it. I'll have my secretary send you a check and then someone pick it up.
For double the price. Right. You're like, you're fake.
Yeah. Okay, so I was going to ask you, so we did an experiment a couple of months ago where we did the second store, we changed the business policies.
Yeah.
So supposedly that would make it easier to handle this kind of problem, right?
Right.
Have you had any pros or cons with that?
The first con was when you turn shipping policies on, I had enough discrepancies between listings that there were like 50 different policies. So I had to manually consolidate those, which was a pain in the butt. It was really a pain. So, and that's on our small store, which has 1,000 listings. We have almost 6,000 listings. I'm like afraid to turn it on.
There could be like 300 of them.
Yeah, just like, you know, when you have a big item and you're like, it's a $15 handling charge for this big ass thing. That's its own policy. Right? So it gets, although a lot of our things have like really similar stuff. I don't know. Anyway, the cool thing about the policies is, you know, if you have like 3 policies, that's as many times as you need to go change something. Like if you're like, okay, 10 handling days, you know, you just go in 3 times. Handling days 10. Handling days 10. You're done. It takes like 3 seconds.
Okay.
On the other store, I'm bulk editing every listing, you know, 500 at a time.
So why don't we say we did flip it and there were 300 policies.
I could manually.
I mean, how long would that take?
It wouldn't take me very long. But the issue for me is that we have people helping us, and I feel like they would be like, what the hell is going on? Although I could just make a policy like if they're doing baseball hats, here's the baseball hat shipping,
yeah.
You know?
Or just they do the best they can and we go through everything anyway and then just teach them, you know.
I think eventually I'm going to have to turn it on.
I don't want us to become a fossil.
You know what's a fossil? eBay shipping policies. That because what happens is when you go into them, it's the old eBay pages. Yeah. You're like, this is old technology, but it's great. But it really is great. Like you're like, I have like 4 shipping policies, and everything falls into those. End of story.
Okay, so this kind of ties into this. So on Monday was when the switch happened.
Right.
There was all this chaos. People are saying, like, I can't ship this thing, you know. And it definitely hurt our sales. I think on a Monday we sold 2 items. Things. And I remember waking up on Tuesday and nothing had sold overnight.
Which is rare. We sell things overnight most of the time.
You know, we've been selling a lot for the past 6 to 8 months. It's been kind of like a good, like there hasn't been very many slow periods. So it felt like, wow.
It was the first slow period.
And it was the first morning in a while where I've been worried about our
money.
Yeah, our money, because we've been spending money on projects on like redoing this building. And I think that just happens in a natural way anytime it just feels it's really slow. Yeah. Again, it's that feeling of eBay is over with, you know? Like we've had a good long time of selling on eBay and now it's all done. And it's such an irrational thought, but it is a real feeling that I'm sure other people deal with as well.
I mean, yesterday was another good example. We sold one $13 item. It's just like, really? One item out of both stores?
However, like I say, it's irrational.
Yeah.
And we'll get to it when we get to our numbers, because we actually didn't have a bad week.
Well, and
it just didn't feel that way.
And yesterday, towards the end of the evening, we sold kind of a couple high dollar like $50/$80. Yeah. But you're like, okay, well, that's... And some buttons for like $40. So.
I just, you know, I mean, we've been doing this since 2008 where we've made a living on eBay almost exclusively. And I just have to remember that it always seems to work out, you know. We can never guarantee sales, but it always seems to happen. Right. And like, for instance, it's this week. I don't know if it was because it was slow. You went on a huge spree where you... had put up a lot of items.
Well, as we mentioned, we have a new helper, and I have to make sure I'm keeping up with her and our other helper, plus the stuff I'm listing, plus the stuff you're listing. So it's like, if that stuff just gets backlogged, there's like 200 items just sitting in drafts or scheduled listings. So I'm like, you know, while I'm training a new person too, it's like, I don't want to just be like, okay, do this, see you later. It's like I'm sitting in my office at my computer, like I should list all these items, answering questions,
hanging out with her, just making her feel at home.
Yeah, so I'm not just like, you're alone working, you know. Right. I mean, our seasoned helper, she can work by herself. She listens to a podcast,
and she actually seems to enjoy that.
Because, I mean, I'm like that too. It's like I just want to be quiet and work and do, you know. I mean, I'll go in and say hi and visit and, you know, chat.
But it's a new person. She's like there, and there's like all this junk around her. And if
she's like, who are these
if we're
people?
not helping her put it in context,
yeah,
she's feeling like I'm in a sweatshop, and these people are like making me just.
I don't think she feels like that,
but that's my fear.
Right. I don't want her to feel like that. But the good thing is like, she does come from like a video and photography background, so she gets it where it's like, we're cranking through this and I need you to take photographs, and like, I don't think that's a bad job. Yeah. You just like photograph this stuff, chill, listen to music, grab a coffee, whatever.
And it's like we talked about, having someone there means you need to be there, and that makes you be more focused.
Makes me work.
As well.
Yeah, because what I'm trying to do is get her to give me stuff to list. So if she goes through 100 hats, I'm like, oh, I gotta list that stuff like now. Right. I can't just let it sit here. So I think that's the thing that was a little bit upsetting for this week, where it did feel so slow. I'm like, I listed so much stuff, and like yesterday we sold one thing. I'm like, what is going on? But it's not always like that. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like I said, it happens. If you're new to eBay, you're going to have great weeks and you're going to have very slow weeks, and everything always changes, you know, all the time.
Yeah.
So at the same time, we have been finishing out our storage building. This 40-foot by 24-foot, basically it's like a warehouse in our backyard.
It's like 960 square feet.
It's a great thing.
Huge.
It's a great thing about being in the country is that you can do that, you know?
Although it's funny, you were in there yesterday and you're like, it's not big enough.
Hell
Which I knew you would say eventually.
It's the perfect size.
It's a good size.
For what we have right now. And you know what? We will, it's plenty big. I'm just saying, and I'm sure anyone will say this, like, a building can't be big enough. Like,
I mean, especially a storage building.
Especially as Scavengers, like, I can always find more stuff to put in there. You know?
But I will say this, we have a bunch of furniture, like stuff that we've gotten recently or we had but didn't use in the rental, and I'm just like, every single site I could possibly sell it on. Actually, I didn't put a bunch of it on eBay. I should just put them on eBay.
Yeah.
But like, Craigslist.
Yeah.
Offer up. Let go.
Things like furniture and stuff like that take up a lot of room just because it's like bulky and flat, and you know.
Yeah, we're trying to stack it a little bit, but it's still.
Yeah.
Like,
so I'll tell you. So while you were doing all of that, we hired a local guy.
Yeah.
Young guy.
He's about our age.
41.
Yeah.
Good guy. You know, he just came into the area, and we met him actually on Craigslist.
Yeah, because, well, here's what's funny about how we met him. He lives right down the street, right? We were listing wood.
We were done with our house, and I was just getting rid of wood that I didn't need anymore, and I was just giving away for free. Just
on Craigslist,
someone to put into their fireplace, or, you know.
Or to build some rustic whatever. And he messaged us, and he's like one of those people who actually like comes and gets it right away, where he's like, I'm going to come get this right now. And you're like, okay. And so anytime I had like extra weird stuff, I would just text him directly and say, hey, I have this. Do you want it? I'm going to put it out in the yard for you. So how did it end up that you knew he did work?
So I saw him in town one time, and I was just talking to him about stuff I was trying to do, and he's like, I do handyman work. He's a house husband. You know, his wife has a really good job as an insurance company.
Right.
And then they don't have a mortgage on their house because he's a scavenger like we are.
Yeah.
And he just like cuts wood and takes care of their kid. And,
does miscellaneous.
And then, so we pay him $30 an hour, and he came over. He helped me do several things. We had all these, it's shelves that we bought.
industrial
big steel
shelves.
industrial shelves.
And like every other day, you'd be like, let's go try to put those together. And I'd be like, I don't want to do it. I think I was just like dreading it. I was like, it's so
great.
cold outside.
I was just unboxing everything because it's all like wrapped up. So it took probably longer to unbox it.
Yeah.
And then he just snapped it all together. That was great. He also built us a lumber storage shelf.
Yeah.
Like I have all
It's
this,
like a rack.
Yeah, like I have all
Storage
this
rack.
I have all this it's flooring, and he was able to make them out of big heavy posts. So, I have all this now flooring that had been on our deck stacked.
Oh my
And it's
God.
great.
I have not seen our deck like clear.
Right.
I mean, it just hasn't been cleared for years because
Yep.
we had no other place to put that stuff.
We cut down a couple trees that we should have cut down before we built the building, but I noticed
We didn't know.
it's kind of leaning over the building, and it's good healthy trees, but that's like a problem in the
Yeah.
future. And so he was like, I'll get my chainsaw.
I mean, he was incredible. He was just like, yeah, let's cut these trees down.
Yeah.
You put a rope on your
Yeah.
truck and like pushed it over. Like,
Pulled it, yeah.
you pulled it into the right direction.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because like anytime we've ever had to do that, you have to like hire a special person and it takes them 2 weeks to come out and do it. And he was like, let's just
Yeah.
do it right now.
It's
like,
great.
What?
And also, he didn't do this. We also hired an electric guy, and he finally finished getting the electric done because I hired a guy to come and dig a trench.
Right.
It's a whole thing, It's
Yeah.
like all these little pieces. So we have now electric to this building. There's lights. You go in there.
There's outlets,
Yep.
there's lights, there's outdoor motion sensor lights. So when you walk up to the building, you can see.
Yep.
It's funny because when we're like, yeah, we'll just run electric out there. It's like, yeah, you gotta get someone to dig a trench. You could have dug it by hand. It's like 150 feet. It's super long. You're like,
It's 60 feet.
it looks so much longer.
But-
Because when he dug the trench, I was like,
But there's
you would
like,
not wanna do
it
that
goes
by
through
hand.
like a
Roots,
forest,
yeah.
so there'd be roots.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
it was really-
I hired a guy. He did it in 10.
He did it. He was
minutes.
like, bump,
It's
bump,
with
bump, bump,
a
done.
backhoe. So
Yeah.
it's fine. So it's good. Like progress. So now what we're gonna do is we just have to get all of our eBay stuff over there. So
Yeah.
that's the only thing we have to do.
And I would like to, I'm starting to sell stuff on Craigslist, furniture wise. Someone wants one tiny little thing.
Yeah, things we don't need. Yeah,
But-
things we thought we might need, but we don't need.
Wait, so I want to talk about our next project, which has mostly to do with the rentals, but
Okay.
on Let Go,
Okay.
I was able to find a washer dryer.
Yeah, so we, people are like, hey, you should try putting your stuff up on Let Go.
Right.
And so we tried it, and like no one's buying.
I haven't
people
sold anything
want
on Let
like a whole couch for $10. I get it. So it's not really our audience
Yeah.
for what we're trying to sell, but Ryan found it for cheap, right?
Yeah, so I was on Let Go because I was like throwing up a couch that I have. Just why not? I'm going to try it. It's free. And I see that someone is selling a stackable washer dryer, which in my mind I've been wanting because we have a washer dryer, but we do so much laundry for the
Right.
rentals that
And
I'm
we
like,
want to back up. Plus, we wanted to have two going at once.
yeah, exactly. That's how much laundry we do. So this guy was like, I'm moving. These are $500. They're almost, a couple years old, Maytag Maxima. And I was like, you know what? I'm not desperate to get these right now. I'm going to offer him $300 and see if he'll do it. And he was like, sure. I was like, oh my God. So what's so funny is the town that we went to go pick them up in, there's a Lowe's. We're like, let's go to Lowe's. Let's buy some hardware stuff that we need. And let's look at the Maytags. They're $900 each. So I was like, yeah, I got it for $300.
And it was one of those things where if you saw it,
I
made an
messaged
offer,
him right away.
and we went and picked them up.
Yeah.
And the great thing is we could come back and we could go to our building, open up the door,
And you
just
drove in.
drive the truck in because it's raining now, and I didn't want to have to unload these things. Just park the truck inside, close the door, ready to go.
Yeah, that was like our dream come true.
Yeah. Oh, and one other thing about eBay, I noticed in our main store we actually have 100% feedback, which we haven't had in a long time. I've told people this before. We seem like we always have at least one person, grumpy person, that gives us a negative, you know?
Just out of the blue.
And, you know, it takes 12 months for them to fall off. I personally don't think it affects our sales. I don't really worry about it. But this is the first time, we haven't had a negative in a year. And so we'll see how long that lasts.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to last very long. People just, they get grumpy. They don't like that they had to return something.
Right. I mean, it's for us, it's someone that never contacted us. Doesn't want a refund. Doesn't want to return the item. They just want to say, I got the item. I don't like it. I'm unhappy. And that's it. And it's
negative. And you're like, I'd refund you if you sent it back.
Whatever. It happens. But it's good. So we're 100%. Okay. Before we talk about our numbers, I do want to do a public service announcement that I think is very important. This is going to cause some controversy. Last week I said that ghosts don't exist. And we got some phone calls and some messages where people said they thought I was joking, that of course ghosts exist. I mean, I must be crazy. And I just want to tell you, no, ghosts do not exist. However,
aliens,
extraterrestrial aliens do exist. So, you know. Like, just one is ghosts are fantasy, like Harry Potter. Aliens is science. So,
oh my God.
It's true.
Okay.
Science-based.
Okay. Where's your alien autopsy proof?
Just Google it. There's plenty of. So. Okay, so let's talk about our numbers. Like I said, I had a little bit of a panic attack thinking how slow it was. You said things have been slow. How did it really go? So this past week, we sold 45 items for almost $2,400.
Wait.
So we actually had a much better week from last week.
How?
Isn't that amazing?
I don't even know how that's possible.
How about I tell you?
Please do.
So this week we didn't sell as many items. We just had a good handful of really big sales. Our biggest sale was we sold a chair for $650.
Yeah.
So, you know, I said this, you know, that I want us to be listing higher dollar items because I love these big sales. I mean, who doesn't enjoy these big sales? But, you know, it's a challenge, though. How do you find these things? You know, like $600 items aren't just lying around, you know. And if you go to an auction, the more expensive items, you have to pay a whole lot. It's more for those items. And you have to fight for the collectors who are willing to pay a lot because they want to keep them. They just want
that for themselves.
So this was a chair. I'm just going to jump to the chase here. We went to an auction. Yeah. Nobody wanted it.
There were 3 chairs.
I bought it for $3.
Yeah, it was 3 chairs for like $10.
And it's like an old gun lock, you know, antique chair
with a leather seat.
Kind of a rickety. I don't know. It's. I mean, it's kind of a weird style. It's, you know, it's not like it's mid-century modern.
Yeah.
Some guy in Russia said, I'll buy it from you and I'll send someone to go pick it up. And I was like, and we were like, sure.
Look, I ignored him for like 4 hours because I was like, I don't.
It's a scammer, right?
I feel like it's a scammer, right?
But I'm like, sell it to him. PayPal and eBay protect us.
Right.
If he pays us and then
never picks it up.
What happens? Yeah.
I mean, he did say, I have someone in the U.S. who's picking up stuff for me to send to Russia. You know, give me your phone number.
Why not?
Okay.
I'm an international businessman.
If they want to come pick it up. I've had people in South America buy furniture from me and arrange a pickup. I'm like, okay.
You know, we sold something for $100. We sold something for $150. We sold something for $126. We sold something for $108.
Some fabric.
We sold something for $80. So
it adds up.
That was what our week had been like. We didn't have as many sales, but the sales we did have were much higher. That's what I love.
It's so funny because I think because of the lesser volume, and there were a couple days where you're like, we sold one thing. It really distorted the feeling of the, like, I almost like don't believe you that we made 2,400. I'm like, that just seems unreal to me. But obviously a $650 chair boosts that number up.
Right. So I mean, we sell one chair for, $600. We would have to sell, X number of items at $30 to make it up, and that X would be 20.
Right.
I just did that math.
Well, you're a genius.
I'm like,
math genius.
There you go. Hey, I know just as much arithmetic. Basically, that's all it is.
Yeah.
So it's good. I mean, we went to an auction, a week ago? We had talked about it, and I was really trying to be like, okay, where are the items that people are looking that I can buy cheap and sell for $200 or $300? It's tough to find.
It's tough to find. And you know what? It's tough to find, and sometimes you honestly don't realize it till after you photograph it and you're researching it and you're like, this weird, household item is worth a lot more, than $30.
But I feel like there aren't a lot of people talking about this online, and I could be wrong, but this is a different way of thinking about selling online. Instead of like trying to find the quantity stuff, selling things for $20. Like, change your attitude and be a different kind of scavenger and find the stuff out there that you can sell for more, but people don't
overlook.
See it, right? But that means that you have to be good at identifying things. You have to be good at researching things. And you have to be willing to hold on to it. That's a big thing.
Well, you have to be willing to pay more for it than you normally do.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. And like you said, you have to be willing to hold
We've had that chair for a year.
A year.
Yeah. It's been
sitting on our front porch, covered, so it doesn't get dirty for a year. But there's so many sellers, and some of them I know personally, they will not hold on to anything. Yeah. Because
just a different,
just a different, they're like, just move it out, get it out of here.
But the other thing is, and I'll end here, is that if you don't put stuff up for high, you're never going to get a high amount,
Right.
So
it's like we always say about listing.
Try it.
If you don't list,
it's not
your stuff's not for sale. Right. I mean, and it's the same thing. If you don't, like, I'll throw my mom, I think my mom is like trolling me because, like, I swear to God, like, she'll text me and she'll be like, yours is definitely, because she looks at our listings constantly, I guess. She's like, oh, yours is definitely the highest one priced on eBay. And I'm like,
with that.
Good luck with that. And I'm just like, yeah, but, if I don't price it high, I won't get a good offer because people can just send you an offer through a message now. And, I'm like, I want high prices and I'm willing to hold it.
Yeah, I support you, Ryan.
It's just sometimes I'm like, Mom.
So, we actually had a really good week.
Wow, I'm in shock.
Okay, and then in our second store, we sold 5 items for about $200. So it was just an average week.
About right.
So yeah. So anyway, always do the numbers. There are times we do the numbers, and I'm like, yeah, we had a pretty slow week. But this week was not. It's
this was a shocker, truly.
So some of the things we sold, we talked about that chair.
I sold some fabric, some really nice, like, cotton designer fabric. I don't know what brand it is. It's totally from the 80s. That was like $120.
And the way we sell a fabric is all at one time. So sometimes people will get, a big stack of it or a roll of it. We don't do it by the yard.
Nope.
Cut it.
I don't want to cut it. Nope. People have asked us to do that. I'm like, no way.
It's all or nothing. And the way we do it is we measure it we unroll it.
Yeah.
And measure it, a yard at a time.
Because people want to know how much.
Yeah.
I mean, and the reason for that is, people want to make curtains that match, their throw pillows, and they need to know how much they're using. And it was gorgeous fabric, so I was super happy with that sale.
I sold some, you'll be able to help me explain this, like steel stamps, like a punch set.
Yes, so these were...
For $100. $110.
$110.
For one of them.
Okay, calm down.
Just one.
So the brand was Miller's Falls, which is a brand that people look for antique tools.
It's American.
It's American. It is. And what they were was a metal punch set of letters. But the week before, the same guy had bought the punch set of numbers.
So it's why do people have those? Like, what do you do with it?
It's to make like little signs out of metal.
Okay.
Or like maybe he has like a metal box and he's like trying to like label the metal box. So you stick it on there, hammer it.
So just so people can understand how I thought about this, when I saw them, I just thought like they're cool. Like they come in a wooden box, like they're really like it looks handmade almost. It's like
it's antique.
It's like the old kind of stuff that was made here.
Like you can't buy tools like that.
And so I'm thinking like I don't really know what it's for. Somebody's gonna like it.
But also,
and so I bought them cheap and we sold them.
But also
that's all I can say.
It's Miller's Falls, and you know that as a brand because if you look up Miller's Falls as completeds, you'll see the hand cranked drills and screwdrivers, and that's what people collect. So people are looking for that brand, and you already knew that.
Yep.
But we bought both punch sets for like $6 each. So the number punch set sold for like $70, and then the next week this guy bought the letters for $115.
Perfect example of weird vintage stuff
that is overlooked.
Yep. Something else we sold was a bongo drum. That was in really bad shape.
This bongo drum was in rough shape. It had a lot of scratches. The drum on top was damaged, and I still sold it for $70.
And it sold almost overnight.
It sold overnight. So I was like, "Ooh, did I price this too low?" I don't think so because someone's got to refinish that thing.
We sold a T-shirt for $110.
That was one of the high price items.
You had told me when we started selling on eBay in 2008 that I would sell a T-shirt for $110. I would say,
You're crazy.
You crazy.
You're crazy.
It was a Kenny Edge Rogers concert T-shirt
from the early 80s. Yeah,
and it was just like what people say. You just like start going through the shirts. It's kind of a grind, and you're just like waiting for that one. And
it is.
This is awesome.
And it's so funny because I look at shirts like that, and like you go to places like Urban Outfitters, and they like remake shirts like that now.
Right.
Like you're like, oh, it's vintage. Oh, no, it's
definitely
not.
A whole thing.
But that one was vintage.
Yeah. So we, and then coats. It was all right.
Some basic stuff. Yeah.
Right. We're okay.
Coats, shirts. We're more than okay. Like, look, I hate to hear when you say you're worried about money.
I would never tell you that.
Because I worry about money so much that I don't even want to look at our numbers. Right. I'm like, because I'm like obsessed and annoyed and like, so I'm like, you deal with it.
Right.
Because I'll make the money and you sort it out.
That's fine. You know what? And I'm okay with that. So. Because as long as I can see the numbers, I feel okay. Because normally they're okay. I mean, there have been times when we've been doing like big projects, like renovating a house, and we got 5 guys doing work for us, and we got AC being installed.
It's like
and there'll be times where I'm like, this ain't looking good, you know?
Yeah.
But we always pull out of it,
Yeah.
And because you got to invest. You got to spend money to make money. You got to know when to fold them.
Know when to run. Yeah.
Okay, scavenge of the week.
My scavenge of the week clearly was the washer dryer set.
It was.
I'm not going to resell it, but that was the best scavenge for me.
But this week we didn't do any other scavenging for eBay. We didn't go to a thrift store. We didn't go to an auction. We didn't go to an estate sale. So it was a week of kind of just working on that building and training our new employees. So
and buying a washer dryer, which I love. Yeah. I can't wait to hook it up.
So it happens, but we have plenty of stuff to list.
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay, customer issues. We got a neutral feedback on our second store. No, sorry. No,
it's on our first store.
Yep.
And what's funny is when you said we had 100%, I forgot neutral feedback doesn't count towards that number.
And it was someone who it was like someone bought a pair of pants. It was the wrong size. They sent it back.
We refunded
gave
them.
A full its refund. And then like a month afterwards,
she gives us a neutral.
She was just like, they
refunded me. It was fine. Neutral.
They were good. Neutral.
I was like,
and there's nothing we can do.
I asked eBay and they said no, they couldn't. The next time I call, I'm going to ask again. But
yeah, I mean, and you know what? It happens. The only thing we suggest, and I don't think we've done this yet, is eBay allows you to put a response.
Yes, I do.
Very short.
Yes.
It's like 140 characters.
Like, we refunded them.
And we always say things like,
refund for any reason.
Right.
You know?
Just so if someone cares and they click there, they can just see that we responded.
Yeah, so I had this other return where this guy would not upload his tracking. And he said he shipped it. And wouldn't give me tracking. So I closed the case.
Oh.
And then he opened a case in PayPal and still wouldn't upload tracking. So I'm like, dude, like, how many cases are you going to open and not prove that you shipped this?
Yeah. So he's just kind of...
Yeah, it's just like, what am I going to do, dude?
Yeah. But we just got a handful of returns just for random reasons. People weren't happy. I think we got 3 or 4.
Well, one of them, so one of them was like a photo album, and they're like, oh, I didn't read what size photo it was, so it wasn't our fault, and I refunded them and relisted. And then one thing was a golf club. Yeah. I called it a driver, because from my research, I thought it was, because other people listed it, but it was actually a wood.
Right.
And this guy was like, this is a wood. And I was like, okay, I don't know. Yeah. So I refunded him his full everything.
Yep.
And then I relisted all the ones that I thought were drivers as woods. I'm like, okay, lesson learned,
We didn't know.
I don't know anything about that stuff.
Okay, things we learned in the forum. There seem to be quite a few people coming on saying that they've had buyers complaining to them
about shipping,
about how much it costs to ship something. Specifically, people who are like, I got the item and I went to the post office to find out how much it actually costs, and I paid $5. It was really only $3.10. I want my money back. And I think maybe just people had just chimed in that they've had that happen to them. And here's the deal.
You're going to lay it all out right now.
I mean, and tell me if I'm wrong. If you buy something online,
right,
it tells you how much it's going to cost to ship.
Right.
And you say,
yes,
I'll buy it. And I'm going to pay that.
I'm agreeing.
It doesn't matter how much
price.
It actually costs to ship to you.
Right.
Because it's not just the cost of the postage. It's also handling,
Right.
It's just all that stuff. So as far as I understand, eBay will always back us up.
Right.
Because the person can't go back and say, well, I'm not going to pay what I agreed to.
What I paid.
And eBay also knows that because they allow you to advertise the retail rate, I guess.
Yeah.
And then they're giving you
the
a discount rate.
Discount.
So they understand that people who sell on eBay are getting
it's a bulk discount.
Yeah.
A commercial bulk discount.
So,
and you can, if you want to be one of those people, you can go into your shipping preferences and pass that discount on to your buyers.
Absolutely.
Right? But like you said, there is handling involved. eBay even charges you 9% on your shipping fees. So that helps pay for that. That discount helps pay for that. Helps you pay for, all your costs associated with it. And like you said, eBay will back you up if the buyer's like, I demand $5 back. And you're like,
I can't remember the last time it's ever happened
to us. I can't remember either.
So sometimes I feel when people are like, this is always happening. I'm like, is it really always happening? Or did it happen just one time in the past year?
And it sucks.
And I just feel like we always have to remind ourselves how often these things happen. And don't let the 1% or less of grumpy buyers color your experience with everybody else.
Yeah.
And then I'll just throw it in there, and then this conversation gets into, well, you should just ship for free, and then you won't have this problem. And like I always say,
nothing's free.
There's no such thing as free to ship for free. And it always drives me crazy, because if you sell an item for $10 with free
shipping.
Shipping. What you really are selling is a $7.50 item with $2.50 built in there.
Right. It's
so
built in. It's always built in.
It's kind of just the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, I guess if that's a psychological advantage, that's cool.
Right.
But the buyer isn't really getting anything for free. So
No.
you as a seller just have to determine like if you want to play those kind of games or not. You know, it's basically like a marketing game.
It is. It's like when people price things for like $4.97 instead of $5, which I absolutely do. Like everything is like $24.99 when it's not on sale.
But you know, like eBay's been trying to do this. It's been a while now. 4 or 5 years ago, they started, you know, ship for free.
Right.
And
fast and free.
It hasn't taken over eBay.
No.
I just bought something online and it wasn't free to ship.
Nope.
I mean, Amazon, I know they say Prime is free.
Well, it's
but
not really.
If you think about it, you're paying $90.
Yeah.
You have to buy like 20 items.
Right. Which some people do.
At like 5, you know, so
Right.
you're paying for the first 20 items to get
right.
shipped to you, and then it's free.
Yeah.
So it's really not even free. So
Well, it's not free. Yeah.
Get out of here. Get off my lawn. All right.
Get off my lawn. Yep. Okay, what's our coming week look like? Yeah, so our coming week is...
I'm going, or, you know, I think I'll take it upon it's myself because it's kind of my job.
Yes.
As like a warehouse manager. That's my title. I'm going to be taking everything from our porch and putting it over into our new building.
Most of our inventory is on our front
I'm going to
porch.
go over, we have another piece of property with some sheds on them. I'm going to go over there and grab that stuff and put it in there. Hopefully by the time, when we speak in a week,
our stuff's
with
over
all
there.
these lovely people, all of our stuff is going to be in one place. It probably won't be very organized. It'll all be in one place.
And
the first time ever.
And I'll be able to change everything to same day handling. Because
that's huge.
Because the issue was I couldn't do same day because I was like, I have to drive to get stuff. But if I just have to walk out to the shed, I can, you know, say same day shipping's cut off at 9 or 10 a.m.
Yep.
Because my post office person doesn't come until 1.
Ryan, I can't tell you how I'm excited by that.
I'm excited.
Our business isn't fossilized.
Because I don't have to drive across town.
We're a nimble business.
I can't wait.
It's cool.
I'm going to work with my helper because she's coming like full time this week. And...
Wait. She's coming
not full time. Sorry, not full time. But I think she's coming every day except like Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday she can't come. And Wednesday we have something else to do. But...
Cool.
Other than that...
And is she coming in what? 2 hours at a time? 4 hours
she comes up for 4 hours at a time. I mean, there's times where I'm like, okay, I'm tired. Like, she only came like, 3 times this week, but I was like, 4 hours of work in a row? Because usually I'm breaking it up. I mean, I'll come over here and do some other stuff, but it's just funny. But you will also, the first thing I have to do at 8 a.m. Monday morning is call for the inspection of the building because the electric's finished, so we have to get a final inspection on that. So that's my job to do that and get that happening. But then you're actually going to work with our other handyman.
Right, this new guy. I mean, people don't always want to hear this, but the reason why you bought a washer set is that we're going to install it. And it's a whole thing. It's like installing new electric, figuring out new plumbing, and so him and I are going to work on that. We're going to crawl under the house.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal,
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to take a picture, and it's going to be like my personal laundromat.
I mean, really it is.
It's a laundromat.
We have all these shelves full of like white sheets and towels.
I mean, we have to. We have like 6 bedrooms that we run. It's like 6 hotel rooms, essentially.
Agree. And I think it's great. Yep. Okay, let's answer questions that people called in about.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. This is Karen from Southern New Hampshire, originally from Massachusetts. I have a question that connects both your eBay business and your rental business. Does anybody ever take anything from your rentals? And also, does anybody ever ask to purchase any of the stuff in your rentals? Love your podcast. Thank you.
Does anybody take anything?
So I want to hear Ryan's opinion of this because I think it's your more suspicious than I am.
The only thing that anybody's taken by accident are like hiking guides. You know, they'll bring it with them to the wherever.
Booklets that
the
that
little
we give
booklets.
people, yeah.
And the funny thing is, they've always mailed them back. The first people that accidentally brought the hiking guide with them lived in England. And they shipped it back from England.
Yeah, they cost $2 each.
They were like, we'll send it back. And they mailed it. And we were like, okay, we could have just bought it ourselves.
Yeah. So, I mean, the answer is, because it is it's questionable, because we were really concerned, because we're putting in, like, artwork and
expensive
furniture and
stuff,
appliances that, you know, we would get in a scavenger way, so it really didn't cost us that much.
But they're nicer.
But they're nice, and we could sell them for a lot of money.
Right.
But the answer is no.
No.
I mean, because people are like us. Like, I'm not going to steal a piece of art off the wall or take, like, a couch or, you know,
I mean,
take some plates.
Well, and the other thing, too, is, like you're saying, most of our stuff is scavenge. And I'm not saying it's shabby, but, like, you know, it's not a brand new couch in brand new condition. You're like, someone sat on this before and you can, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I think in the 3 years we've been doing this, we had our first problem actually a couple of months ago where some younger guys, you know, got the place.
They were partying, I think.
And that's very rare for us. And someone put a hot, like, pot, like they made some popcorn or something and put it on a leather chair and put a ring around it that we couldn't get rid of. I
mean, it ruined the chair.
So we just charged them for it, and they paid us $350.
Yeah, like, that is super... Literally, we've been doing this for, like, almost 4 years, and I've never had an issue like that.
So, you know, it's like, it's one of those things where, like, if you watch it's news, everyone's killing each other, everyone's out to get you. Right. It's a dangerous world.
Don't listen to true crime podcasts.
But in a reality, everyone is really looking out for each other. And if you meet people face to face, everyone just wants everyone to be okay. So
I would agree with that. I feel like at first I was like suspicious, like, oh my God, we have to lock our TVs down. That's never been a problem, you know.
Or it's like when you go to hotel rooms and the art is like screwed into the wall. Like you can't even take the art off the wall, you know.
Hi, Jay and Ryan. This is Karen from Lavender Clothesline, my second time calling. Love your show as usual. You guys keep me company while I'm listing. I am a full-time seller, support myself this way. I am in my later 50s and like I said, live in Pennsylvania. I have a question for you guys. I had a buyer contact me about a cheap necklace I was selling. It was a $10 necklace. And they questioned me about 3 or 4 times, wanting a lower price. And I just felt they were going to be a problem buyer. They were located in Iceland. I do ship internationally. So they contacted me several times, like I said, and I had a bad feeling about them, so I just blocked them. Well, a couple of, probably like an hour or 2 later, I hear my phone cha-ching. And sure enough, the necklace sold to another account, but in Iceland. So I knew this was the same buyer using a second account. So I wasn't sure what to do if they were allowed to do that. I called eBay, and eBay said that they would look into it, but in the meantime, I could cancel the sale, block the second ID, and that would take care of that, refund their money. So I refunded their money, and I did not message them because I felt like they were getting a little bit weird. They then contacted me the next day saying, where is my item? In Iceland. So I messaged them saying that I had blocked them and I didn't want them purchasing, and if they had a problem to call eBay and, you know, see how eBay feels about it. So I don't hear anything for another day, and then they write me back saying they called eBay. eBay says there was no conversation between me and them. And eBay gave them my personal phone number, and they would be calling me because they want this $10 necklace. So by this time, I'm like, this is a real problem person. So I watched my phone the next day, and sure enough, my phone rings, and it says Iceland is calling. So I don't answer it, of course, and I block them on my phone. And then the next thing I know is that I receive bad feedback from them. So I called eBay because the first representative that helped walk me through canceling the sale and just what to do, that they were not allowed to do that, said if you get bad feedback, give us a call. Here's your reference number. We'll remove it. So today I got the bad feedback and eBay won't remove the feedback. So I was just wondering if you guys could give your opinion, if there's anything else. I thought it was eBay's policy that a buyer could not leave bad feedback if they had abused the system. And in the feedback, they said I was a dishonest seller. So I was trying to get it removed under the...
Okay, you got cut off.
Now, we played that whole thing because other people on the F forum have actually been talking about this recently about,
not being able to remove.
Well, I mean, like having a buyer feeling uncomfortable and blocking them,
right.
And then that person buying on another account.
Or a guest account or something.
Or a guest account. And, I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
We've had that happen to us where someone
is wanted this thing,
we're being really obnoxious, so we just block them because that's a great thing. People say they're powerless. That's one power we do have.
But it's hard when they this one jacket. This woman was obsessed with this jacket. It was just a jean jacket, and she would ask all these questions. I'd block her. She would make another account, and it was a very specific area of the world, and I was like, it's the same lady. And eventually she bought it and never said anything, so that was good.
Right.
She was satisfied. But since you have a reference number about the bad feedback, I would honestly call back, because
it's one of those things where I think you have to find an empowered customer service rep that's willing to understand the story and make the connection. Because in reality, eBay's like, well, you blocked one person and someone else bought it.
You're like, it's the same person.
Sure, they're from Iceland, but, we can't tell. It's just someone else. So.
And also, it stinks that they were able to get your phone number and call you and you're not able to remove their feedback. It just, yeah. I would call back and try again. That's my advice.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to call several people over and over again, or wait till you get someone that sounds friendly. I will say though, if you were to have to live with this negative feedback,
it wouldn't be that bad.
It's not the end of the world,
Exactly. It stinks, but you'll still sell stuff.
Hey guys, this is Tammy from Newport News, Virginia. I was just listening to your last podcast. I heard about the ICP hats and that you had to clean some of them. I have about 100 snapback hats and wanted to know what your process was. Do you spot clean them? Do you put them in the wash on the light hand wash only? Do you stick them in the dishwasher? Just want to get a little feedback. I don't know what to do with these. They've just been sitting around forever. Love the podcast and hope to hear from you guys soon. Thanks.
Okay.
Dishwasher?
Well, we don't own a dishwasher. Although I have heard of people putting hats in a dishwasher. Don't put them in with your dishes, because that's kind of gross. But,
why do they do that?
Because it keeps them still.
Okay.
It's they're on a rack, so they're just sitting there, and you hang them dry.
Okay.
But whatever, I don't have a dishwasher, so I don't know. I'm sure some other people do. But what I did with the dirty hats, any hats that I think need washing, I'll spot clean them with OxyClean spray or whatever kind of generic spray stuff I have. Let it sit for an hour, and then throw them in the wash on delicate, cold delicate, because some of them have wool in them. And then I just hang them dry, and they're fine.
Yeah, and we don't buy hats that are really gross,
unless I want to take a patch off them or something.
But then we don't have to wash them anyway.
Just take the patch
These
off.
are hats that just they got stored in a closet and they have some smudges or something.
Yeah.
So there might be a little stuff on the hat band, but yeah, just put it on.
Yeah.
Put it on a gentle cycle, and then we just hang them up to hang dry,
it's
and
really
they're fine.
Easy.
Hi Jay, hi Ryan. I was talking to a friend of mine. He said he just got a message. He sent an item to Global Shipping, and they messaged him back and said they just received an empty box. So someone stole it either in the post office or Global Shipping maybe. But he also told me he wrote the eBay number on the outside of the box on the label. And I've shipped many things through there, and I've never done that. and he says you're supposed to do that. And I was just curious if you guys write the item number on the label or the box so they know what's inside. Thanks a lot. Love your podcast.
Okay, number one, if someone in the global shipping program is claiming they got an empty box, they need to contact eBay directly and figure out a refund, because you as a seller are not responsible for that. You're responsible for getting it to Kentucky, and that's it. So that's the number one part of it. Number two, no, you are not required to write the item number on the outside of a global shipping item box. You're not required to do that for anything. There are some warehouse shippers, when people live in Japan and they have it shipped to somewhere in California, they'll ask you to write the number on the outside of the box or print the number on the label. And I've done that out of a courtesy, but you're also not required to do that.
However, what we do, and it's not required either, but we were suggested by a guy that works at the post office, is we print the receipt.
The invoice.
And we put it in the box, so if the label does get ripped off,
there's an address in
they can
there.
open it up and it says where it's going.
So it's like extra precaution, but that's it.
I mean, that stinks. I mean, that is interesting, like, what if you're like a scammer and you're like,
I got an empty box.
I sent this thing, like like a person purposely will send an empty box and say, where'd it go? Who stole that?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Well, also the other thing is when someone's like, I got an empty box. How could you ever prove that? You're like, here's the empty box.
Yeah.
Like,
but isn't that what insurance is for?
Well, right. So eBay has their own like international insurance, and they have to figure that out between the buyer and eBay.
Right.
And it's tough because a lot of times a buyer will try to work it out with you, and you're like, I'm not responsible for this.
Yeah.
And it,
after it gets to global shipping.
Right. So you're putting the responsibility on eBay to have, in quotes, inspected the item when it got to Kentucky to make sure it wasn't an empty box.
Right.
Whether they do that or not is questionable.
Right.
But you got it to Kentucky, it's documented, and then they need to take care of it from there.
Yep.
Hi, Jay. Hi, Ryan. My name's Dave. I'm calling from Metro Detroit. I've called you guys a bunch of times. And I have a question about shipping and SmartPost. I've been using SmartPost and like it a lot because it can shave a couple dollars off of a package and make my listing, when there's a bunch of them, look more appealing because it's slightly cheaper to ship, and my postal carrier has no problem picking them up. Lately, like the last 4 or 5 packages, the buyer will pay one. For example, I sold a model kit and the shipping was $5.72 SmartPost, and that's what he paid. And when I went to print the label, it was showing that it was like almost $12, and with my discount was $10.70. And yes, I've double checked dimension size and weight and everything, but it's charging me like 40% more. So what I did was I took SmartPost off all of those items, and I went back to priority mail. And I actually ended up shipping the items priority mail because they were like $7.30 or something like that. So I only lost a couple bucks on each one, but I didn't know why this is, and I had double checked it, triple checked it, that it's not a problem with the weight or anything like that. And also, I don't know why it allows somebody to choose SmartPost if they're in a PO box, because that's happened to me too, and I just end up eating the difference because I don't want to nickel and dime a customer. Also, I enjoy listening when you guys talk about eating and food and stuff like that. I have recently lost 90 pounds. Since September 5th, I've lost 90 pounds. I called in a little while ago. I had spinal surgery, and it's not because of that. I've actively been working out and eating better. I actually eat Whole30, but I've lost 90 pounds since September 5th, and it's been quite life-changing and has boosted my energy level. So thank you for all you do. Your show was a highlight of my week. Bye.
Real quick, 90 pounds, that's amazing. That's awesome.
I mean, that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. I mean, I just find like if you just eat your own food that you cook, you're going to, just eat better.
I mean, but 90 pounds is incredible.
Yeah,
I'm like,
great.
I lost 15 pounds and like I'm like fighting to keep it off.
We're a bit of a standstill, but it's really like my doctor told me. It's like we all have this obsession with like being skinny,
right?
But when really it's about just being healthy, So it's not so much how much each you weigh. It's about although some people can definitely lose weight, but this idea of like I need to be like I think for my size I should be like 150 pounds is like my like ideal weight,
right? That's
and I'm
skinny.
like
you're like
I weigh like 168, so I'm like 20 pounds overweight. I'm like I don't feel like it, but,
right.
But I feel good.
Well, that's
okay.
Amazing.
But this is a good example of what people have been talking about with FedEx
SmartPost.
We have not experienced this, but this is a perfect story of what people say happens, and I don't know. So they say it's not because they missized it,
right? It's like not a big box,
and no one can get any information that we've heard of from eBay saying that they
changed their price. Or
right, and then eBay hasn't updated their
right on the seller side, on the buyer side,
right? Like if FedEx has raised their price, then eBay should just put that a new price into the calculated shipping.
The one other thing I do want to say as a shipping nerd, I also find it really annoying that people with post office boxes can purchase SmartPost, and the reason is they should be able to purchase SmartPost because the last mile technically is the post office. So FedEx hands it off to the post office and it should get to a P.O. box. However, when you try to ship a SmartPost label, print a SmartPost label, the label maker through eBay's like, FedEx does not deliver to P.O. boxes. And you're like, yeah, but SmartPost does. So here's actually the newest workaround I've found, and I saw it through a customer. A customer did this. I don't know if it was a typo or they did it on purpose. When they spelled P.O. box, the O in P.O. was a 0. And that allowed me to print a P.O. box label for SmartPost, which is perfectly fine.
We already knew that.
There was another workaround where you spelled out post office and didn't write box, and you would write it in by hand. This is even easier. You just turn the O into a 0, and it like doesn't recognize that, and it's fine.
Also hack.
So there is a way to pay for FedEx SmartPost for a PO box, but the other thing that I found, someone in Puerto Rico ordered something SmartPost and was able to pay for SmartPost, but FedEx won't print a label to Puerto Rico. So it was a light enough box that I actually sent it parcel and it was fine. I think I actually sent it priority. Like it ended up being, because Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory, it was like the same price or cheaper. I was like, okay, I'm sending it priority.
Right.
But it's just funny that they were allowed to buy something through SmartPost. You're like, yo, why did they allow that? So anyway, it's weird things. It's like eBay doesn't realize what SmartPost is, and it doesn't allow for like the weird inconsistencies of SmartPosts. But there are workarounds, so obviously. Okay, that is it for the podcast this week. You can check out our blog and join the conversation on the forums at scavengerlife.com. You can leave a question or a comment on our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesday, we post a What Sells video to show what sold, currently brought to you by Stephen Schultz. You can subscribe to us through iTunes or YouTube so you always get the latest episode. And we are ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1.
Goodbye.